Drake Maye had a fantastic interview at the Combine. He brings a lot of energy. You can tell he has that leadership ability. And, also the exciting part about a guy like Drake Maye is the ceiling. Like, there is really no ceiling with a guy like that. Now, in saying that, when we're trying to put together this roster, I know a lot of people look at the ceiling, but you also got to kind of see how low is the floor. How low is the floor? And I would say a guy like Drake Maye, he has a lot of room to grow. He's a young guy. Honestly, he hasn't played football nearly as much as these other guys, so that's definitely something that we've looked at. But he definitely is going to develop.
All right, Gerard Mayo bringing up his floor, Chris. Why is that significant, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's significant because I think that with Gerard Mayo and Elliott Wolf, maybe because you're empowered for the first time, or in Elliott's case, maybe you're sort of waiting to be fully empowered in this situation, you want to just get on base. You just want to hit a single here. I think that's the total wrong way to go about this. I think you have to take as big a swing as possible at franchise quarterback. But when you start talking about, I'll be honest, I don't care about the floor in a franchise quarterback. I don't really think that's relevant, and I'll tell you why. Who had the highest floor out of those quarterbacks taken in 2021?
Maybe Trey Lance?
It was Mac Jones.
Oh, no, wait, the highest floor. I'm sorry, floor.
Well, Trevor probably, but yeah, right. Trevor probably the day after Mac.
But Mac was, but even with Trevor, people say Mac's the most NFL-ready guy, the guy ready to go week one. How did that work out for you? So I'm a little worried that they will sort of potentially be coaxed into trading back here and say, oh, Bo Nix. Bo Nix made 61 starts. Bo Nix set the NCAA record for completion percentage. Bo Nix is a safe thing. Or J.J. McCarthy is a safe thing. I also thought that comment was a little weird because J.J. McCarthy played 40 games, but he started 28. Drake Maye started 26. So, I mean, just that comment to me I thought was a little telling from Gerard about maybe where they really are in Drake.
Tie this into what, Maye's pro day started off very shaky. You saw some of the throws off the top.
Right.
We can throw him, again, he starts off his workout throwing it into what would have been the second row. So do you think that spooks anybody?
No, that's a social media thing. That's like a couple people clipping a couple bad throws. A lot of guys have bad throws to start their pro day. There was some nervous energy there. Everybody I talked to that was on the ground there said that it really felt like he settled down. He's a freak athletically. And to me, that's what this is about. And Chris mentioned it. I think the floor is sort of irrelevant in today's NFL. You can make yourself the 40-win NBA team if you want with a guy like Mac Jones. If you're looking to get into that club that Kansas City's in, that Cincinnati's in, that Buffalo's in, that Baltimore's in, that the Chargers are in, you need to have a guy who can physically stand up to those guys. And Drake Maye is one who can. I don't think Bo Nix is. I'm not sure Michael Penix is. There are only a few guys in this year's draft that are of that ilk.
Okay, so
Maye clearly is. Drake Maye is. There's some similarities with Josh Allen.
But just so I got that right, bad, wild throws with no defense and no pads is just a social media creation.
I think if you go back and you look at some other.
Okay, no, it's fake.
Yes,
so it's fake news.
I don't think
the fact that Drake Maye was.
I think it's irrelevant. I think it's irrelevant.
That he would have brained a couple of cheerleaders. That's just fake news. People making that up. It's a social media thing.
I think with Drake Maye, if you look at the body of work over his last 2 years,
why bother going then? Just ignore the bad throws.
Did you care about pro days until the last 6 weeks? No. So now all of a sudden,
that's what it is. This is what happens when you suck. When you suck, you have to watch this stuff, and I thought that it counted. I thought it all counted.
Missing 2 throws at the beginning of a pro day, and look,
doesn't all count equal.
Again, I'm talking to offensive coordinators, quarterbacks, coaches, general managers who were there at the workout who said this kid is so talented. I had one say he would be the number 1 pick in 80% of drafts. He is that talented.
All right. So what's great about Maye is that opinions are all over the place. Like Zolak was live tweeting the thing. He was watching what we were all watching, the ball sailing out of bounds. Oh, God, they're taking McCarthy or trading out. Red flag, everybody. It's versus air people in a scripted session with their own coach. You shouldn't be missing throws. So he was saying, well, that was going on in real time. Now, Cerrone Battle of 98.5 The Sports Hub, who's been a big critic of Maye, he actually lives in Carolina. He drove over to the pro day and watched it and was actually impressed. Here's what he had to say.
From what I saw in the responses of some of the other coaches, Dan Quinn saw a throw, he shook his head and started walking like he was leaving. He saw enough. And they were impressed, and they were telling everybody they were impressed. These are the NFL guys. These aren't the fans or whatever. And I've been to Patriots training camp and all this stuff. I've been down on Drake Maye. But he did make throws you see in person that were better than anything I saw at training camp last year. And it was oohs and ahs from the NFL people, and there wasn't fans in there. And like I said, Niners, Jets, couple other teams, Dan Quinn, they were singing OJ's money, 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 money.
Okay, so is that a put on or is that for real? Then we have Greg Cosell of the 33rd team. He says there are some flaws to work out in Maye's game, the biggest being inconsistent and at times erratic ball placement, which could well be a problem. But there's no question he possesses the physical traits with the natural pocket feel, in addition to higher level athleticism, to develop into a quality NFL quarterback with a chance to be one of the best. Greg, I was reading your column on Boston Sports Journal today, and you talked to 6 NFL executives, I think.
Yep.
And if I have this right, I think you said 2 of them told you they would take Maye at 3.
Yep.
2 of them told you they'd take McCarthy at 3.
Yep.
And 2 of them told you they'd trade out at 3.
Yeah.
So it's like the opinions on this guy are split all over the place.
Yeah, it was. They were all saying no doubt Caleb Williams is number 1. No doubt Jaden Daniels is number 2. You know, so for the Patriots, I'm hoping that the Commanders do something funky. But I 100% agree with Greg Cosell's assessment. Drake Maye has some things that need to be cleaned up. He has an elongated motion. His footwork needs work. I'm sure he's been working on it during this time, and it could get better towards the second half, even maybe ready for the season. But the talent is just off the charts. Like, I am not passing on that type of talent if I believe in my coaches at all. Alex Van Pelt, Ben McAdoo, T.C. McCartney. There's way too much to work with there to let it go.
Bert, you want to follow up?
I think the best comparison I've heard is he's Josh Allen, maybe a step down in each category. Like a little
Herbert,
smaller,
a
little bit less of an arm, a little bit less of an athlete, but he is that type of player. And here's the thing that I why I would trust the talent here is because the intangible stuff you hear. He was number 1 among all the quarterbacks in the interviews at the Combine, and you heard that over and over and over again. He crushed the interviews. People were expecting this hayseed from North Carolina. He came across as competitive with some real you-know-what to him, right?
Yeah.
So there was that there. The other thing was,
traits.
the other thing is where he's from, his family, right? Like one of his brothers is a pro baseball player. Another one was a starting power forward at North Carolina. His dad was the quarterback at North Carolina. And one thing I thought that was really interesting from the Combine in Indianapolis was how the teams observed him relating to everybody and how he seemed to be the leader of every group he was in. The intangibles with the kid are really good, and I think when you combine that with the talent, he gives himself a chance to get there the way Josh Allen
did. And I just he has a little personality and swagger. He said at the Combine in the interview, why should you be picked? He said, you want to game plan with me rather than game plan against me. I like that. That's confident.
Okay, so you've been on Maye for a long time. After all this, do you feel better or worse about him or the same? You've always liked him. You've always wanted him.
Yeah, I've always liked him. I've always wanted him. I mean, again, there are some things that are raw, but I just go back to the way he played redshirt sophomore year, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Was he perfect? No, but those numbers were huge. And people coming into this year were saying, he can push Caleb Williams for the number 1 pick. I thought Daniel Jeremiah had the most germane commentary on this, saying, look, there's some similarity to what happened to Josh Allen and Jordan Love, where the hype train sort of left the station and people didn't look at what was around that guy the second year, and he didn't play as well. Same for Josh Allen at Wyoming, Jordan Love at Utah State, and then people started dinging him. Would you still draft those guys?
Yeah, but Chris, you used to ding Mac Jones all the time because, some of us would say, well, there's not much. He doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't have weapons. And you were saying that's Mac Jones's problem. He's not elevating people. So now you're saying you're okay with Drake Maye when things weren't good for him last year.
On that, Greg, because my thing with Mac Jones when he came in the league was you can't trust him because he had the best of everything. Drake Maye has not had the best of everything.
He didn't have the best around him in his rookie year.
One of the very first.
I'm saying at Alabama, when the guy came into the league, he'd had the best of everything around him.
Right. So
he never had to elevate anybody in college.
I will
Drake
say
Maye has had to elevate people in college.
One of the very first things that people who, the people who know what they're talking about, say to me when I ask them about Drake Maye over the last 3 or 4 months is how terrible the scheme was at North Carolina.
Yeah, it was awful. I mean,
Mac Jones
had the best of everything. It's not only that. That's honestly an absurd thing to bring up.
Not only that, his number 1 receiver was embroiled in an eligibility thing for half the year. So I think that there's Josh Allen would tell you his last year.
He played in the ACC. It's not like he played in the SEC.
Deshaun Watson played in the ACC. The ACC's not terrible.
How long ago? 10 years ago? Seriously?
That wasn't 10 years ago.
What Josh Allen would tell you is last year.
Bart, I just want to be able to watch a pro day, and if a guy's a bad throw, say it's a bad throw. All right? It's not a social media creation.
Still on the bad throw thing.
Yeah, I am. You have bad throws, and Bert's telling me it's fake news.
Well, now I'm going to put my Bedard hat on. You love Jimmy Garoppolo. He sucked in practice. the whole time he was here. But when the lights came on, he was good.
Drake Maye had 2 bad throws at his pro day.
Yeah.
I mean, leave it alone.
I know.
The other ones were ridiculous.
But I never heard you talk about
Fine.
Garoppolo
He
being
shaped
bad
a couple
in practice.
sand wedges. Big deal.
I want to talk about the bad
He was
throws.
still your
That's
guy.
all.